And welcome back to another MT Doctrine. And in this episode, I want to talk about an article that I saw this past week. Very interesting, and it's just another example of human aggression. So here's a picture I want to show you from this particular article, and you probably saw this. And it reads, Jeep owner gets last laugh on Corvette driver's greedy parking job. So basically, as you can see in the picture, that the owner of a white Corvette took up 2 parking spots. And the entire parking, this was for a Red Robin's burger place. And the whole entire parking lot, according to the article, was completely packed. And people were annoyed that this person took up two spots in the parking lot. Well, one particular driver had a very interesting way of doing revenge. So he parked right up on the curb, right next to the Corvette, really making a statement. And the great thing about that was that he recorded. He was inside the restaurant, and I think you can do a search on YouTube to find this exact video. But he recorded the owner going back to his car with his girlfriend or something, and he's like looking at his car, making sure that there's any dents or any scratches on his perfect Corvette car. Very, very interesting. But a lot of people gave this guy a lot of praise. His video went viral, and kudos. I'm really, really proud of what he actually did. So that's what I want to talk about a little bit more in this particular video. So let me jump right into it. I talk about the acts of human aggression. Well, there were a lot at play here. So the owner of the white Corvette, he was very self-centered. He was very entitled. He is so oblivious with what he did. He's so self-centered because the whole parking lot was packed. But he took 2 spots because his car is very important. He's very entitled. Like, I have a nice car. I don't want no one to be next to my car. And he's so oblivious that you're taking up a parking spot that you do not have the right to have because you have no consideration of others. I got a different word for that. Asshole. That's exactly who the owner of the white Corvette is. He is an asshole. So on that same article that I was reading, there was a poll that talked about what would you do, or if you have seen that, how would you react to it? And here's a snapshot of the poll results. So you see some of the things like, well, first the question of that poll was, have you ever done something about a car purposely hogging more than one space? So most of the people said, yes, I wasn't exactly neighborly about it. That means they expressed themselves very aggressively, like telling them a thing or two, or maybe hitting their car. Who knows what it could be, but basically being aggressive towards that type of aggressive behavior. You see how that works? One form of aggression will lead to another form of aggression, and that's how that works. It's like putting in one Chinese fighting fish into the bowl, and you put another one to the bowl, and they're going to fight to the death. Just another example of that. The other selections on there was that they didn't do anything about it, but they were angry and they just walked away. That's probably makes sense. I mean, what can you really do about that? And the other one was, wait, people actually do this? Like, people were surprised. Like 111 people were surprised. Like, what, people do that? And I really want to honor those people because they're thinking, no, people are not that mean. No, people aren't rude. People aren't assholes. No, maybe something happened for that. So for them to thinking like this doesn't happen, I kind of admire that. Because most of us are so cynical that we're like, no, this does happen because this is the world that we live in and we see it and we pay more attention to it. And I think another question here was, or another option for voting was, yes, I contacted the authorities. Okay, that actually makes sense. So this is very good kind of information when I saw that poll. I actually voted because I was curious because I want to see the results. But I actually voted for I would contact the authorities. I actually have done that before. Because one thing I've definitely learned is you don't want to collide with humans. People are crazy. You do not know the intentions of people and how they're going to react. You never know. You could confront somebody and they could pull out a gun to threaten you or even shoot you. You never know. People are people are crazy. They're so unexpected, so you got to be very careful about that. But I agree about standing up and saying, no, what you did was wrong. It's bullshit. You're an asshole. And I really admire that kind of percentage of 46%, 633 people. Kudos. And by the way, he's like taking his car like, oh, this is my white Corvette car. It wasn't an impressive car anyway. Seriously, a Corvette? I mean, I know maybe it's his dream car, but I was not impressed with it one bit at all. It's not a Bentley. It's not a Bugatti. So what is very viable solutions when something like this happens? Well, I got a couple of suggestions, and it's pretty much what the poll really outlined. But number one, when you see something like that, and it's what this particular guy did, take a picture of that situation. Try to get the license plate number. Take a video of it. Take a video of the owner coming out eventually. That could be a little tricky and you gotta be cautious of that. But take pictures, take videos, and post that online. Make it go viral. And trust me, the internet will do the rest. They will spread it. They will tweet it further. They will let everybody know about this. Because there's one thing that people do not like. No one likes an asshole. No one doesn't. Because everybody knows that we all have to share this planet together. This planet wasn't made or designed for me, for you, or especially the owner of the white Corvette, his perfect car, his masterpiece. No, this planet was not made for nobody. It just wasn't. Okay? So we all have an agreement that, or we have a common sense understanding that this planet is for all of us. We have to share it and the space on it. And it doesn't give you the right to do that. We are really big about balance, fairness, equality. We're very big about that. That's why if you see people, you've probably seen this a lot. Happens a lot, right? You're basically on the freeway or on the road, it doesn't matter. And you're about to turn. But there's all these cars lined up to turn to get on the freeway or to get off. Who knows? And whenever there's an opening right in front of you or in front of another car, what happens? Somebody quickly cuts right in front of you. Even though sometimes there's a lot of space behind you. We have a word for that, right? Asshole. Nobody likes an asshole, and people are very vocal about it. Case in point, this particular video. People were really saying, like, yes, exactly, he's an asshole. It's a very strong consensus here. But I definitely believe in getting this information, taking pictures, taking videos, making it go viral, providing it to the police. Maybe that information to the police, they can make a report and they can actually do something about it. Maybe, who knows? But that would be a very good solution, is to get that information, pictures and videos, let it go viral, put it on the internet, and the internet's going to play itself. Nobody likes an asshole. Nobody likes things like that. Another solution is contacting the authorities. So you take a picture, or if you're in Red Robin, you can say, hey, there's a person who's parking illegally in this particular restaurant. Here's the address. And if you're lucky, maybe the police can actually go and they can actually give him a ticket. Even better, maybe the police officer can go into the restaurant or whatever the double parking is. It doesn't matter where it is. And he can basically put him on the spot. He can say, hey, who's actually out here parked in 2 parking spots, a white Corvette, license plate number XYZ? Call him out on that, embarrass him. Because you're going to have people kind of, snickering, laughing, applauding, agreeing. That could be a good thing. That could give the police officers a win. Because police officers these days are not, they don't have a good track record in terms of the media and how most of us are portraying the police. That will give them good kudos right there, because people will be applauding that, yes, he's an asshole and basically consequences needs to occur. But again, that's if you're lucky. I don't think that would really happen. And I think the other solution that you have in regards to something like this is confronting the person. But that is risky. You don't want to do that. I talked about that. People are crazy. We don't know the owner of this Corvette, his mentality, his mindset, how he views the world. He probably committed a crime before. You don't know that. And it's very, very risky to speak up and say what's on your mind, and it could potentially compromise you. You could be in a fight. He could actually start hitting on you, throwing something at you, put a gun on you. You never know. So that solution you never want to do. But the bottom line is a very common consensus, and that is nobody likes an asshole. And the problem is there's no solution for that. Okay, so I want to give you my personal opinion, which I think I kind of already did. But I want to give you my personal opinion about this kind of mentality. But I also want to give you or talk about what really matters at the end of the day and the bottom line. So in my personal opinion, I do think that he is very self-centered. He is very oblivious. He is very entitled. He is very rude. He's an asshole. He is a complete asshole. And the big part for me is that he lacked two main aspects about how we coexist as humans on this planet. He lacked common sense, and he lacked severely common courtesy. He just didn't care. He just did not give a damn about no one or people who do that. And that's what the act of human aggression of oblivious means. You don't give a rat's ass. You do not care about anyone else around you. You just care about yourself. Okay, so what really matters at the end of the day? This is a tough one because we should stand up and basically call bullshit on that kind of behavior, being an asshole. But here's the thing. Here's the reality. There will always be assholes. You can't change that. You really can't. No matter what we do, what we say, they will always come in many different type of forms. Yes, he's the definition of what an asshole is that we can all have an agreement to, but you're not going to change that. It's really how you want to react to that. I say this all the time. We have a choice in everything that we do, but we also have a choice in how we feel and how we want to react to it. So yes, so this owner, he made a choice. He made a choice where he's saying, well, I don't want no one to park next to me. This is my dream car. I don't want somebody to park next to me and they may dent my car and get it dirty. No, I'm going to do that because this car is very important to me and I don't give a damn about no one else. That's their problem. Simple as that. So he can have that kind of mentality, but that is his choice. But I also mentioned that the choices that we make comes with consequences. So that's why I really hope that this particular video, that this picture in the video that this guy did here in that picture, and with my own video and other videos on YouTube and on the web that will continue to spread and to make his identity known. And that alone could potentially compromise his character, could compromise his relationships with his family, his friends, even with his employment. That's a good thing because no one likes an asshole. So, but again, you have a choice. Assholes, bad people, rude people, that's not going to change. They will always be here. So it's your choice of how you want to react to it. And the big thing is you can you can get angry about it, which is one of the options for the poll for that article. You can be angry about it, but just brush it off and keep going. You can't change that. You can't make everybody a good person, to do the right thing, to have common sense, to have common courtesy. That's not going to happen. There's people on airplanes that feel justified that they can recline their seats back. That's an example of lack of common courtesy, being an asshole. So I can give you many countless examples, but really it's a choice that you want to make of how you want to react to it. So I saw it, when I read the article, I laughed. I thought it was very funny. I thought it was very slick of basically standing up and having a voice and calling bullshit. So I really liked that a lot. But I also kind of I saw it and I was thinking, okay, he's an asshole. That's going to exist. And I just didn't really worry about it. I just want to talk about it for this particular video because I found it very interesting. Look, the bottom line is this. We as people, we are required, yes, I said the word required. We are required to coexist on this planet together. If you don't like that, if you don't think that, then I have a suggestion for you. You should move to Jupiter or Saturn or Pluto, one of those planets. It's going to be short-lived, but there it is. You can live that kind of thinking and ideology over there. But on this planet, we all have to coexist, whether we like it or not. So here's something to consider when we talk about how do we coexist. Whether we coexist in terms of at the restaurants that we eat at, the grocery stores, the movie theaters, the workplace, to driving to work or going back home. We have to coexist whether you like it or not. And there's a couple of pointers of things to really keep in mind. Number one is all about equality, fairness, and balance. That is the number one thing that when people are very vocal about things, it's because of that. Look, we share this planet together and you have to be equal. You have to be fair. You got to be balanced. So if you are excited to see the Avengers 2 movie and you show up 20 minutes early, but you're way the back of the line and you say, well, that's not fair. No, it is fair because that opportunity was still presented to you. You should have showed up earlier. Okay? Now, if you were in the front of the line and somebody said, hey, come on ahead though, because I know you, then yes, that would be unfair. Okay. Now, another example could be, and this is something of balance, that let's say that, so for me, I've been a network engineer for 15 years. I studied really hard. So I graduated from college. I got a lot of certifications. I got a lot of job hands-on experience. So some of the jobs that I worked at, I got over $100,000 in salary. It's a lot of money. But I busted my ass. Okay, I didn't go to parties. I didn't, do all hang out with all the girls and try to have sex with them. No, I cared about my career because I figured, let me work hard in the beginning and have fun forever. Common sense. But most people don't think that way. But that's the choice that I made, and I'm reaping the benefits of my reward because I worked hard. I busted my ass. So when I hear people complain like, well, I don't want to work at McDonald's. You chose that. Okay? So you can make different choices. You can go to a junior college. You can go to college. You can start going to parties, hanging out with your friends, talking about nothing, that sort of thing. You can hang out with your friends occasionally, but you need to have a clear goal of what you want to accomplish. So for me personally, though, that's really how I view it. But that's the balance. You're expecting to work little and, work little and no effort, busting your ass and get a lot of money for it. It doesn't work like that. Sorry. That's called balance and fairness. Simple as that. So you get the idea about fairness, equality, and balance. That is the big thing that everyone basically demands of other people, that we coexist together on this planet. Another thing to consider is common sense. I need to do a separate video talking about common sense because I really think that 90% of people in the United States of America does not have common sense. And it's hard for me to explain that. I got so many examples, but I don't want to dwell on that any further in this video here. I want to treat that for its own separate video. But people lack common sense. Thinking logical. Very simple. And the Michael Brown case, that's a clear example of there's a lack of common sense. There's a lack of being logical in that particular case. Michael Brown was unarmed and he was shot and killed 35 feet away. But there's people saying, well, no, the police are justified in what they did. Interesting. So when you see someone like James Holmes, who walked into a movie theater in Colorado, and he killed like 12 people. One of them was a little boy. He killed 12 people. Wounded 70 people? He was fully armed. He surrendered. He wasn't executed. This is what I'm talking about in terms of common sense. Thinking logical. This country doesn't have that. Not surprised. We are the lowest in terms of education compared to most of the other countries in the world. Because we're dumb. I guess that probably makes sense why. We lack common sense. So that's another component that's really important of how we need to coexist. We need to start having more common sense. The other one is having more common courtesy, thinking of others. But that's probably the big one right there. Because people don't care. They don't care about the people around them because they are self-centered and they are entitled. You see, everything comes back together in terms of the acts of human aggression and how we have problems coexisting with the other people on this planet. We don't give a damn about you. It's as simple as that. You being on this planet is a distraction. Why are you here on this planet? You need to just leave the planet. Go. This planet would be better if it's just me and the people or the groups of people that I represent. That's really what that is. But here's the reality. Okay? Beyond the fairness, equality, common sense, common courtesy. And this is something I thought about. Okay? How can I say this nicely? Look. So that guy, with the white Corvette, he's an asshole. But you know what? We are all assholes. We are aggressive beings. We are aggressive animals. We are wild animals. In other words, we are assholes. It has to be the right opportunity, the right moment, the right conversation, the right button to press that can trigger you becoming an asshole. So we all have that. And this is probably a good example of that because we're looking at this like he's an asshole because of what he did. Yeah, because we can clearly see that. And of course, for us, that pushed the button like, no. Equality, fairness, balance, fair. He didn't do that. So we can easily identify that. But really, we were all assholes. Me, you, we're all of that. Because remember, we are those acts of human aggression. Under the right particular circumstance or situation, we are self-centered. We are entitled. We are self-righteous. We are oblivious. We are greedy. We want significance. We are misanthropy. We have misanthropy towards a group of people in the world that we live in. And I'm not talking about race. So I have a video that I talk about group identification. Watch that video. It's one of the add-on videos for the Human Formula that talks all about that. Because you may have a misanthropy where you have a dislike or a distrust or a hatred towards a group of people. That could be based on race, economic class, like the rich not liking the poor, based on religion, based on sex, like I don't like women, that sort of thing. We all have that. But it's just the right moment where it is triggered that can bring out the assholes in us. In the Human Formula, I talked about that when we interact with the real world, we exist in our virtual world, our virtual bubble, with our ideology, our preferences, our likes, our dislikes. But when we communicate out into the real world, we put up filters that basically protects the integrity of our world and ourselves. Because remember, we are self-righteous. We're justified. We are always right. So we think that our world is the correct world. But we know that's not really how the real world operates. So let me wrap this up. So the owner of the white Corvette. So I can go, okay, so we have a collision of different groups colliding with each other. So here's what I think. I think that the owner of that car, he exists in the economic group of the rich, the upper class, probably lower upper class or very high middle class. But I would probably say he is probably in the upper class. And we know how the rich, how they view the world, whether it's affluenza. They think that they're better than everybody. You know, they group the middle class and the poor people. Oh no, you guys are inferior. You guys need to bow to us. You guys need to thank us. They feel entitled. They feel self-centered. They are oblivious, which are the exact acts that the owner did in this particular case that I said in the very beginning. So things to think about, but just understanding that we coexist together, whether you like it or not. And to coexist, you got to think of yourself and with others in mind, that you also want fairness, things to be equal and balanced. You want common sense to definitely happen. You want common courtesy. You want to not show that you are an asshole, that you are a person. Nobody wants to be an asshole. We want to be good people because that's the right way to think. And that is it. I'm finished with my explanation and my analysis. Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe to this channel. I release new videos, 2 videos every week. So please subscribe to this channel and I will see you next time.